Velia Kouveli, Logistics Manager at FrieslandCampina Hellas, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Thank you very
Have
much.
your time. Thank you.
Okay. This is on. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here, mostly the European Intermodal Association, to this beautiful city. I come here to represent my company FrieslandCampina Hellas, who is an affiliate of Royal FrieslandCampina. So I come from Greece, but I represent the Dutch company. So I'm here, and I hope it's interesting for you to know how the users think. I mean, the users of the intermodal operations feel and how they perceive the services offered. It's a teamwork that we are looking for. So indeed, the professional approach you have in APA, it would be very good if we had it for the whole end-to-end supply chain, so that we could all benefit. So let me first give you a short introduction about my company. Maybe you have noticed we have sent some products here. Hope you had the time to test them because it's a dairy company, FrieslandCampina. It's a company that invests on the goodness of milk. We call it our precious. We have more than 1 billion consumers all over the world, and mostly from Holland and Germany. We have exports to more than 100 countries. So we are indeed a tuna type here. So a lot of brands, maybe you know some of them. As a company worldwide, FrieslandCampina is the fifth in the dairy sector and the first one to be operated by dairy farmers. So it's a company with a long history that has more than 20,000 dairy farmers as its owners. So it's a cooperative company. Mostly in Holland. So, as FrieslandCampina Hellas, we belong to the business unit Consumer Products Europe, and we are mostly importing from our affiliate companies, which are situated in Holland and Germany. In addition to this, we also have a new investment in Patras, where we produce the products that we brought here today. Dairy products such as cool milk and yogurt, Greek yogurt. So for those of you who may have visited Greece, you would see that Nunu, which is our main brand, is nearly everywhere. We are in more than 50,000 points of sale, always food stores, I mean. And we also trade brands like Milner, Fina, which are branded cheeses. So what we stand for and why we are here today. Our principles are to deliver healthy nutrition to people, to work together as motivated people, and care for the environment. So you get the point why we are here. Another information about us is that we are #1 in all the dairy, almost all the dairy categories in Greece, except for the yogurt. And I'm making this introduction, which is also combined with our revenues and the brand awareness, which is 100% in Greece, to conclude, and I don't want to be tiring for you, just to understand that we run a very branded business. That's the point, with very high market shares and equally high expectations. To come to the more juicy part, which is why we are here. We are here because we are interested in intermodal transportation. Currently, we import something like 1,400 cool trucks per year, and another 3,300 containers of dry products from Holland. Another 2,000 trucks are being produced in Patras, so it's inter-company transportation within Greece. If you ask me how many of them are done with intermodal transportation, it's only 400. Of course, if we calculate the containers coming by sea transportation into intermodal, it's also the 3,300. But the point I am here today is to stress that there are a lot of obstacles for the users to use the ports and the infrastructure. So getting in more detail, in Greece we deliver to more than 2,700 ship-to points. We are practically everywhere. We have a full product category assortment in Greece, from raw milk to creams and cheese. And we use for ambient products the sea transportation to import them, and for cool products mostly the road and not the intermodal transportation. Even more explicitly described here how we import our goods. Some extra information about our outbound logistics, just to stress the point that we do need to be everywhere. So, in FrieslandCampina we have a strategy map which is called Route 2020. It shows where we want to be in 2020. In this map, you can spot the fact that we pursue the chain advantages. We call them from grass to glass, because you heard before that our owners are the dairy farmers. The sustainability, because we care for the environment, and of course good cost structure. So intermodal transportation is a perfect fit for all these three factors of our strategy. Indeed, it's been 10 years now that we are trying and we are pursuing to use intermodal transportation from Northern Europe to South Europe to Greece. There were good times and bad times. I don't know how many of you know the company BTZ. Most of you should know it. We had a long cooperation with BTZ before it went bankrupt, and also with Gardner. Now we have a cooperation with P&O. We started in 2009. We did a lot of trailers until Patra started to produce the products that were then imported from Germany. But still now we import cool products with P&O by 1/3 of the volume. What has not gone very well so far? What we see and what we perceive as users of the systems, of course, is the lack of uniform cross-country capacity regulations. For example, the total weight a truck can have can vary from country to country from 40 tons total to 44. So in practice this means 40, because you can take the goods in and out. Complex cross-border documentation, especially where we tried to use the Balkans. It was a disaster, I would say. Yeah, imagine cool milk for young kids being stuck for 2 or 3 weeks in the borders.
So you start with milk and you end with yogurt.
Yes, because the milk is exactly. It's the in-between processes that took place. A lot of issues with the end-to-end infrastructure. Of course, in Greece we have huge problems with infrastructure from and to the ports. Now there is an effort to make improvements. For us, China came to us, as you know. Costco owns a lot, a huge percentage of the Piraeus port, and now news say that they are heading for the rest of it.
Ask them to reconstruct the railways.
They are doing so. That's why I'm saying we have improvements, because from the public sector there were, a lot of delays. You know, in the news, I don't have to explain. And of course, the fact that it does 24/7 is not present in all steps of the supply chain. So imagine food industry, products that need to be fresh in the market, to be stuck around because veterinarian service, for example, is not available during weekends. So someone has to like trouble to take products from the road and put the products on the railway, especially in this case. Of course, we like trouble anyway, and we like the road less travel. So we keep insisting on supporting. I mean, we are an ally that maybe you don't know there is in place. So indeed now we are running this system for cheese, for all our cheese imports, which is satisfactory. It has a lead time of 6 days, which is much less than the container the vessels by Rotterdam. It's not so fast as the truck, which takes only 4 days, but it's a good value for money, I would say. The reasons we are supporting it is to hedge, first of all, the risks between the modes. Because, for example, the trucks are much dependent on the exports from Greece, which are not stable every week. However, the imports are much higher, and so there is scarcity of trucks whenever the export period is low. The other factor is the dependency on the gas and the oil price, which cannot be absorbed by everyday products for the family, which need to be affordable every day. And of course, it's the matter of sustainability itself and the reduction of emissions of CO2. I will try to be very clear on the way we are thinking and conclude with these 2 slides. What the market asks from us drives what we ask from our suppliers. So the market, for a fast-moving, consuming good supply chain, and especially if we talk about food and not anything else, and even more especially for cool products that we have with short shelf life, the market asks for us to be demand-driven, market-driven. So this means that now that the market is low and people want affordable products, that we need cost efficiencies, which of course in turn mean what you all have said, operational scale and critical mass, to be able to have these operational cost efficiencies. We want the capacity to be utilized. For example, the issue with the 45 feet containers, which is an impediment right now on how many tons we can put on a trailer which is intermodal, and if it is intermodal or not. I don't know if you are familiar, but this is a long-lasting issue in the EU. We need backup plans from the operators. I mean, if the train is stuck, what do? Still, we have to be in the supermarkets. So it's another perspective, what I'm trying to describe. Products need to be safe to be consumed, because people and little kids, especially in our case, will consume them. So what we need is to be sure that when the trailer changes hands, everybody will have equal sensitivity about the temperature control, about the food tampering and food terrorism. And this, of course, requires edge technology for GPS surveillance, good trailers, and so on. The market needs fresh products. No one likes to consume a product that has been produced 2 months in advance. So we need quick supply chain, which means seamless operations and synchronization. And we need uninterrupted availability, because the milk has to be in the supermarket. Kids have to find their milks every day. I know it's a completely different presentation from what we have been discussing so far, but I think I will make the point, right? Now, the companies also have their own goals. What we look for is viable cooperations. We don't want cooperations that last 1 month or 1 year, and this to be achievable, we need reliability, we need trust, and of course we need partners. Because if in Greece we are the only ones to pursue intermodal operation and we only have one supplier, no one needs to figure that this would be a temporary cooperation and not a viable one. So through the very good work done by the European Intermodal Association, which is a platform for all the stakeholders to say up their presence and to match what demand and supply, I think we should continue efforts in this respect. Companies want limited working capital. This means that the products are not, companies are not in favor to have the products traveling for ages. Trust, of course, and what I said at the very beginning, end-to-end solutions. Each one has its own specialization. I mean, we are in the dairy industry. We don't want and we don't have the resources to know exactly how the port operates, how the trackers operate, how the ferry boat operates. We need solutions that will address our needs with a single point of contact. Otherwise, we will have a department calling the ports and the trains and the trackers. And of course, it is not relevant for this discussion, but even for the North-South Europe needs a lot of improvement in the part of the Balkans in order to facilitate, together with the rest of the corridors, the import as, of course, the export operations which are rising right now in the south. I hope I was not very tiring or out of space for the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Velia. Your speech was very interesting and very useful for us. And I would say that if all Greek companies work like you, I'm sure that Greece will come out of the crisis very, very quickly.